Hi, do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. What about
Perfect.
you? Okay.
Yes, always good.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, more than good. Happy to see you again. Happy to be with the Green Institute today at this special day. So yes, I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Definitely. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our panel on the role of the youth in sustainable development. I'll be your moderator. My name is Duygu Sever Mehmetoğlu. I'm a PhD candidate at Koç University, Turkey, and I'm a researcher in energy security, energy transition, and sustainable development. Today, I have the pleasure to be the moderator of a discussion with dear Walid Machrouh. Welcome, Walid.
Thank you so much, Diogo. I have the big pleasure to be with you today to discuss about sustainable development, the role of youth. So I'm Walid Machrouh. First of all, a tech for good consultant and entrepreneur. I have another hat, like the youth project associate with UNDP Morocco, but today I'm wearing my consultant hat, my independent hat. So it's more about the entrepreneur, the young guy who discovered sustainable development and who work now to promote it and to spread the word around it, and also to see how can we scale the implication of youth related to this kind of topics, important topics.
Perfect. I would like to talk about your background, but you already give the necessary information. Thank you for that. So I'm going to move on with my very first question so that we start our discussion. Sustainability and the youth. So how do you connect these two? How do you read the relationship between these two? And what do you think can be the role of young people in green transition, green growth, a life towards sustainable living? Sustainable future.
Yeah, exactly. I think this question it's really relevant in the fact that when we talk about sustainability, we talk about sustaining resources, sustaining opportunities, sustaining so many things to the future. And we're talking when we are talking about youth, we're talking about a big component of the society now. Like people under the age of 30 years old, they are present in more than 1.8 billion people. So just imagine, it's a big, huge number.
Wow.
And in 5, 4, 3, 16 years, they will be the ones who gonna manage the resources. So we should sustain those resources so they can manage it, and also they should be part of their production. They should be part of the first reflection. And here why it's important to match these two topics between sustainable or how can I say that, sustainable development and youth. And here where we make a big mistake. We think always that okay, it's good to just sensitize young people, just to okay, tell them that it's good to preserve the environment, it's good to be responsible toward the society, etc. But you're now in how can I say that, in spectator mode, in a supporter mode, not in change maker mode. And after 5 years, we expect from them to be the change makers. And here where we make big mistakes. And also we have this big contrast. You are the future, but they are the present now. And they should learn from the past. They should see and have the how can I say that, the skills and the abilities to analyze the good practices and the bad practices that we had, and we keep doing it from the past to the present, so they can build with us together this future and this sustainable future.
What about their knowledge level regarding sustainability and sustainable development? Do you think the young people has enough knowledge with regards to sustainability? And if there's a gap, a knowledge gap, how can we fill this gap? What can be the institutions or what can be the platforms that we may use to educate the youth on sustainable development?
Yeah, I think before COVID crisis or before COVID era, I would say that there is only a minority of young people who are interested by sustainable development, and they know what they should do and how they should contribute. Because
Mhm.
before it was like they don't feel that sustainable development it's a must to have. It's
Mhm.
only on the stage of nice to have. They saw it as a luxury thing. Like, okay,
Mhm.
all what I need to do is to ensure the bottom things in the Maslow pyramid, like having only the basic needs, food, drinks, having a good
Yeah.
place when we can sleep, then dreaming about their career, how they can succeed their professional career, etc. And they forget, and also it's our responsibility as we can say government, institutions, schools, etc. We don't give them this big highlight and this big importance. We don't showcase it about sustainable development. But
Mhm.
as I mentioned before, I've worked with so many youth organizations like all over the MENA region. In Morocco, I supported Enactus Morocco program. It's a program that promote social entrepreneurship and try to educate students in college and universities through the social entrepreneurship knowledge. So either they can be they will be entrepreneurs, or they will be change makers in other companies and NGOs with a different way of creating value and
Mhm.
how they can deliver it. And we found that each year we support more than 6,000 students, and we see that we can see the value, we can see the change, we can see the progress, we can see that they start care, and that's the important thing. Why they start care? Because we don't give them the financial resources, we don't
Mhm.
give them the, how we can say that, an open door, but we give them the trust. We give them the trust to experiment first of all and to fail. And I
Mhm.
think that's what we should expect from young people. If we want them to be included on those reflections and to feel that they are concerned, they should start trying by experimenting why it's important to preserve like natural resources, why it's
Mhm.
important to think about inclusive ecosystem, why they should be they should care about prosperity and not having social inequalities. And this reflection, why I will go to the pandemic part. With the pandemic, as a human being, we felt all together that we are
Yeah.
equal, that we are like manage all the disease, that we are manage all the negative impacts of. And if we don't collaborate together, and if we don't start by initiating small initiatives, start we as young people create opportunities, we're gonna just assume what's happened in the world, we're gonna just like consume it with no reflection and also with no feedback. And I
Mhm.
think here where I came up with the last project that we're working on with the HBQ, Hamad bin Khalifa University. So now what we're doing is we're running a big program in the MENA region called
Yeah.
Design Post COVID Normal, and the
Mhm.
idea is to have how can I say that, the participation of young people from 24 countries, and they think all together about how they are affected, how they can switch their role from an affected victim persons to the ones who create the value and the
Yeah.
ones who think about the solutions. And yes, until now we're having like so many amazing results. I think also the UN this year and the last years they're doing some amazing jobs by having a youth envoy, by having now this campaign related to the UN 75 that engage young people all over the world. Also the government, they start seeing that all the initiatives related to technology or to advanced technology or to the community resilience, they were initiated by young people in their countries. And you see,
Mhm.
it was because they want to see something change positively in their
In
communities.
there. Yeah.
And that's what that's how can we really build a good connection and a good bridge between young people and sustainable development.
Great, great. I mean, in those kind of platforms, you mean that from day one till the end of the project or initiative or platform, whatever it is, you can see a real difference, right? A real difference in terms
In
of
each day.
understanding in
Yeah.
each day, even, yeah, in terms of understanding, in terms of action. Um, as you said, the young people are the backbone of our society, and of course, today's young individuals will be the leaders of tomorrow. So my question would be about the leaders, the policymakers. Do you think the policymakers today really include the youth into their policymaking in sustainable development? Or in relation to that, according to you, what would be like a sustainable development leader, what would be their qualifications, and how can we train the youth to have these qualifications for being a leader in sustainability?
Yeah, I think that already I will just clarify a point. I don't think that young people they should be the leaders of tomorrow, but they can be the leaders of now, of the present. And here we're talking about policy makers, because like before, young people they didn't have the tools or the needed tools and opportunities to how can I say that, to spread the word around their needs, to spread the word around how they can see sustainable development, what are their proposals, what are their ideas, etc. But now with this, with some powerful tools such as social media and such as the power of I can do with no resources, we are now seeing and watching that young people they start doing themselves the opportunities. They don't care about policymakers, they don't care about the leaders in their societies. They try to pose and to enforce that they need to be heard. They need like the people that they need to listen to their voices, and not only to listen, they try to manage and create so many initiatives and like actions in the field, and then to showcase the impact. You don't want to support us? Okay, we will start with 100 people, and we will show you that we can make it with those 100. Then you can see the benefit of supporting us, so we can scale this impact toward other communities and other like young people. And this mindset, I think that's like the changing point that we start having from, I think, those 5 last years, that we start knowing that if you want to change something, we should not expect that the change it's gonna come from the top. It should be a bottom-up change. It should start from the communities, from like individual initiatives. Then we start duplicating it and scaling it. And also, if we're gonna talk about the policymakers, I think now I will give the Moroccan example. Yes, we start having some young ministers. We start having some advisors to the ministers that they are young, they don't surpass the 30 years old, but with great experiences. Now we're having a new, how can I say that, commissionary to design the new program development for the country. And we're having like 5 young people that the ones they manage the big initiatives. And you start seeing that this disruptive thinking, this new way of thinking about things, not just talking a lot, but acting, then having this evaluation, that seeing how can we scale it, start to be ensured and implemented. And if we're gonna talk about like the last question on either like you they start to be qualified and to be more ready to manage the sustainable issues. I think yeah, it's the case. This sort it's still just in big minority. We didn't achieve to have the big majority of young people interested about those topics. I think with this kind of event, with so many other initiatives, we can start sensitize and initiate young people to those topics. And also, I think we should simplify the language, and this is the one of the big barriers. When we're trying to complicate things and to talk with this so science an advanced scientific language, to talk from how can I say that, a macro perspective, you cannot feel the engagement of you. They will not care. For them, this is just another thing that old people are saying to them. You
Yeah, it
see,
would be like
and I
more
think
casual, right? More casual, as if it's a part of the daily life, because it is the very part of the daily life, actually. Our
exactly.
actions in our daily lives make the big change at the end of the day, right?
That's exactly the case. And also the way how you approach them. If you're just gonna be, you cannot approach them with the same mindset as you approach like big partners, or I don't know. You should be more flexible. Like also in the vocabulary that we use, like we've collaborate through my startups, and also my like the work that I do with so many organizations. We see that officials they try to stick like an example. If we're gonna just to talk to Moroccans, and all the Moroccan youth could just talk in Arab dialect, in the Moroccan language, the officials will stick to French or to classical Arabic. And you still, from the beginning, you will feel the gap. You will feel that they don't, they can't empathize.
Yeah.
They can't project themselves. And I think the first recommendation to officials and to the persons with the decision making, how can say that, force, they should try to fill the gap. They should
Mm-hmm.
try to simplify the way that they approach youth in
Mm-hmm.
communication, also in the clothes, how they wear what they wear, and how they want to be seen by the young people. And
Yeah.
here we can start talking about, okay, now we are near to our target, so we can find the right way to pass the message about sustainable development and to keep it easier for them and to feel them the responsibility, not only to have it as luxury thing, but it's the need.
Yeah.
Because like the young people having 15 years old now, in 20 years they will have 35, and when they will have 35 or even 14, by if we're gonna just achieve 2050, then we're gonna need, as all the statistics now saying, we're gonna need 2.8 planet to sustain, to fulfill our needs. So imagine if you are sensitized already about like that, we are each year surpassing the natural resources 4 months, 5 months before. After 10 years we're not gonna find anything to do. We're gonna start having a war just like on water resources, just to have
Food.
food,
Yeah.
just to have something to basics. So why
Mhm.
not to start this reflection way before? And also every one of us should critique his actions, his way of communicating, and how can we all of us build a good base to talk to youth and young people.
Definitely. And it is the conventional approaches that made us here today. So how can we
Yeah.
expect to address the unconventional threats with these conventional methods? We need new methods. We need new approaches. Do you think this is also related with some kind of a generation gap? I mean, the young people are becoming more and more proactive rather than waiting for someone to offer them a project or an initiative. They just
Yeah.
do it themselves. But on the other hand, they also have to face what the current generation is doing right now. I mean, the human-made distractions of today will be negatively affecting their world in the future. So, and this is also sometimes called intergenerational tyranny, which is a language that may be very related with your previous point regarding simplifying it. But how do you think the young people can just disrupt this chain and decrease the effect of this uh, generational effects on their future?
Yeah. Perfect. I think here the good thing about what's happened in the last years that we had so many young people in so many countries that they start to speak and they start to be like to empower themselves and also to benefit from so many programs that they improve their skills, they improve their knowledge, and they're now starting to be the ambassadors and being the ones who try to simplify those concepts to their colleagues, to the other young people at their same age. And I can here give you the example. Me, like 6 or 7 years ago, I didn't have any like attached point with the sustainable development until I discovered this organization called Enactus Morocco, and I started, okay, maybe this is interesting. Let's discover. And then you had the opportunity. Okay, I will make start with my first project. Then you start feeling like some like people in the BOP in the bottom of the pyramid needs. You see them and you
Mhm.
feel that it's your responsibility too. You should do something. You
Yeah.
know, you think, okay, how I can do these things. I should learn how to design projects. I should meet with people with the needed expertise, etc. And you start developing yourself. And you need to have this prepared ecosystem. If you don't have it, you should prepare it by yourself. And I think now we don't have the excuse anymore to talk about this generation gap, because we have so many young leaders who can do the bridge between the old and the official
Yeah.
people, and also the young ones, and to try to convince young people that they know they need to how can I say that, work more on their flexibility, to be less flexible than they used to do, and also with the officials that should be more flexible so they
Yeah.
can match this, how can I say that, the good
Yeah.
communication
Yeah.
with young people. And also I think with the COVID, the good thing about COVID that we've noticed that the environment is, and the climate and also the quality of air is changing.
Mhm.
We're seeing that we cannot leave people behind. We should leave no one behind, and we should include everyone if we want to be safe, if we want to be protected from the virus. And by thinking in this way, we start to see and to have this reflection. We should not just to protect others because of the virus. Why not to do this process all along our lives?
Yes, right.
And here where we are gaining now maturity. I think all the humanity are gaining now maturity, not all, but starting, we're talking now not about just the minority but the majority. I think just yesterday I saw the pictures of Kerala, the elephants in India that was killed in a brutal way. You see that people, they don't have this good sense of responsibility, but you see that other people, they start, okay, why to do this? They're not thinking with their human way of reflection and actions. So we should do things differently. And I
Mhm.
think, yes, and now it's more about our responsibility as young people to prove that we can do things better. Not
Yeah.
only that we can do things better, but we can work together with all the other generations. Before we had this technological gap, like the old generation, they don't they weren't used to use social media, etc. But now with the COVID, they used to
They
work
had
remotely.
to.
They had to, it was an obligation, and this obligation started giving them the reflection. Maybe young people, they don't lose time in social media, they don't
True.
use time in the internet. They can use it for e-commerce, they can use it to spread great campaigns, etc. And here you feel that now we can find a middle ground to talk, a middle ground to spread positive messages, and the middle ground to ensure progress.
Definitely, definitely. I totally agree with you. And also, as a follow-up point, I think there is the need to balance the human-centric approach to protecting the environment and the eco-centric approach to protect the environment. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's a difficult thing to do, of course, but it is maybe at the center of a sustainable future for all of us. I have a last question before I turn to the audience to have their questions. I'm sure
Perfect.
they want to ask you several things. I very well know that, and also you mentioned you've been involved in many projects which aim to boost youth engagement in sustainable development. And actually, in one of them, we worked together with you too.
Yeah.
And you interacted with hundreds of young people, young, enthusiastic, proactive young people. What concerns the youth the most? I mean, what are the major barriers that they face in this path towards putting their projects regarding sustainability into action? I mean, we've been talking about the role of the youth in sustainable development, but what is our role overall to assist them? What can we do for them? What do they need from us?
Yeah. I think like we've conducted so many surveys to see this point and to check this point with the young people who are starting their initiatives or just in the process of thinking about coming up with
Mhm.
something new and relevant to the society. And we found that in the first, like when we're just gonna start the process, they think that maybe they need the most that they need is financial resources.
Mhm.
But just after starting conducting the programs and starting having this mentorship and this follow-up programs, they switch their needs to, they need trust, because now they start feeling if we give them the space to learn, the space to experiment, the space to launch and unleash their potential, they feel
Mhm.
more free, they feel more valuable. And this is the
Mhm.
thing, because young people, they feel this fear of failure. They feel that if they want to try something and they fail, they will not be any more relevant or credible to other people and also to other generations. It's like a big how can I say that, a combat of proving ourselves.
Yeah.
And after like seeing this point of trust, they start seeing, okay, now we're having trust, we're having the space, now we're demanding to have the mentorship,
Mhm.
we're needing to have the right people or some models who did it before and who succeeded in just like small points, and who
Mhm.
can share with us their stories. They can inspire us that we can start from scratch, we can start with no resources. It's no
Mhm.
matter of low tech, high tech, or no tech. The important thing is create value. And here
Yeah.
they start to be more aware about their activities, about the way that they can create some projects. And also I think now, after the past 10 years, all over the MENA region, and also in the most of the African countries, the countries are start seeing that those models and those small initiatives are working good. Like
Mm-hmm.
we can find an NGO, one NGO like in Morocco called the Moroccan Center of Innovation and Social Entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
They can mentor each year more than 30 social company. And you can see, okay, if this model work here, why not to duplicate it in so many other regions, and to give it the needed funds, to give it the needed partners to scale up their impact. And here we can see that the financial resources it's not the end in mind, it's late on the
Mm. On
follow-up
the list.
journey.
Uh-huh.
And exactly, but the first thing is really trust. I will re say it, trust, trust, trust. You should trust us to fail, giving the youth the needed support, mentor trainings, and also the mental support. Because as
Oh
I
yeah.
said, always life is a mental game. You should know how you can play with it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, you should know how you will play, and how you will manage all the ups and downs. And where
Mm-hmm.
we are the result of a classical education system, we know just to have the courses and to giving them back in the exams. We don't think this way. We don't like build this way of thinking. That's
Yeah.
why we should
Can you hear me, Walid? I think the connection is lost. Let me see.
push our I think I
I
had
think we
a
lost
problem
you.
with the network.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
think we're
weird.
okay. It's all right
Yeah, so
now,
I
I
was
guess.
talking about more
Yeah.
mainly for skills that we need to
Mm-hmm.
support young to have them:
Mm-hmm.
critical thinking, decision making. They need to have so many choices, and they need to decide innovation and creativity. How not to think outside the box, but they can think with no box, put and implement their own criteria, etc. And the fourth thing is about
Redefine the
social
box,
engagement.
right? Redefining the box even.
Exactly. Not only like go out of your comfort zone, but just extend it, expand it beyond of the things that you're feeling safe into it, and like expand your safety environment to other new challenging things.
Definitely, because the challenges are not traditional at all. So it's a huge
Yeah,
challenge, actually. Yeah.
yeah, we should
So
think differently, that's it.
I totally agree with you, and thank you so much for your remarks. Now I want to turn to the audience. Whether I'm sure they have
Perfect.
many questions. I can't see the questions myself here, but if the hosts can connect me,
I think they are in the live comments. I think they were asking all along
can
our
you see them?
presentation. Yes,
Let's
what is the knowledge
see.
level of youth with regards to disability? How do we fill up knowledge
I think
gap?
these are the
I think.
summaries that we just talked about.
Okay.
Oh, we have Sabika here. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Sabika.
Hi, Walid. Hi, Digi. How are you?
Thank you very well. Happy World Environment Day.
Yeah, we're good.
Likewise, same to you. Thank you for welcoming me on the platform.
Nice to see you.
So I have a question, and I think you hinted a little bit about your thoughts on education. And my question is that with everything that's going on right now, we see all the statistics all the time about more than 60% of school children being impacted with access of education and all of that. So the question here is that in order for youth to be empowered and conduct the projects that they believe so much in, how much do they have to depend on formal education, right? So that's like a half question, that how important is formal education for them to reach their goals in sustainability, in sustainable development? And then the other thing is that for the moment, while they do not have access for any reason at all, whether they don't have the money for it anymore or whether they don't have the technology, what can they do in the meantime to get that access?
Yes, thank you so much, Sabika. I will answer first of all the first question. I think that if we're talking about the role of formal and normal education, if we do just a small evaluation based on my knowledge towards so many Arab countries and also Morocco, I think it's not surpassing 20% of the knowledge that they need to have, because like the normal school, they give them the platform to start knowing how they can educate themselves, and also each time some advanced knowledge that they need to be challenged by themselves. Not they not just wait to the teachers to simplify all the things and to wrap up everything, and also to sum up all the aspects. And here the other 80%, it's related to two main points, if we can say. It's related to the other activities that they do in their life, either the clubs that they're joining, community clubs, environment clubs, etc., or association or NGOs, and also the professional integration that they have regarding internship, having like some missions with big companies, etc. And by trying those, how can say that, those things that they think they are out of their comfort zone, they start feeling, and they starting to feel more assumed about that they are responsible of their own life, not others. And here they feel that they could learn differently, but they didn't try, and to do more they should try more. And this way of thinking on how can we really start reapproaching our education system. And also I think in the future, by after having this pandemic crisis, and to fill the gap, I think that we should work a lot on the technological access, because just in the past week I ran more than and I leaded more than 53 webinars and workshops, and I've met so many young people that they are really hungry to learn. And you feel that they feel you more like near to them through the technological how can I say that, devices and tools, than being present, because you cannot just go all over the cities in Morocco or in Egypt and learn everything.
I think we lost Walid again. It's a pity, and actually we are running towards the end of our panel. Let's see whether Walid, are you back?
Do you see me? Yeah, I'm back. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's the problem today with the Wi-Fi and with network. But I will just to sum up about the second question. We should work more now on finding a hybrid model between technological education or remote education, and also like presential education and formal normal classical education. We should not how can I say that, how can just go remotely, but we should find a middle ground, a hybrid model between them both, and also ensure access. We as or the officials or the NGOs that they have the needed resources, they should give the right access to 100% of young people, so they can benefit and explore all the treasure existed in in some websites, some edtech platforms, etc., and also so they can experiment this knowledge in the field and in their schools and in their physical environment.
Yeah, thank you. Sabika, thank you so much for your question, and Walid, thank you very much for being with us here today. I'm sure there were many important remarks in your answers and many important messages. Thank you so much. Happy World Environment Day. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Bye bye.
Hope to see you soon. See you. Goodbye. Bye bye. Bye.